meet someone. They're fun, attractive, and interesting to talk to. You're cautious though. You've been burned out by being on dating apps, and it's refreshing to find someone that you like in the wild. Maybe it's a meet cute at a bar, a coffee shop, through work, or mutual friends. You're feeling a vibe. You think they might be too. They come on real strong at first. It's like you just get each other. You start to let down your walls, match their energy. They talk about all the things they want to do together. Travel, go on a walk in the park, go out to events, whatever it is. They seem invested in building a friendship or relationship with you. It feels like they're all in. And one day, out of nowhere, the energy shifts. Silence. It's like they just died. But they're still posting to social media every day, more active than ever. They engage with everyone, except you. Texts and DMs go unanswered for hours, days, weeks. You double text, triple text. Maybe they're busy with work or met someone else or are struggling with their mental health. They could have gone back to their ex or just lost interest. You will never know because they won't tell you. Your For You page fills up with videos about attachment styles. You've convinced yourself that they're just avoidant. The tarot card girlies got ya. They read you for filth. Every cold reading somehow describes your exact situation, and they assure you they're gonna come back in a week. They're just ashamed and working on themselves. Wanna know more? She says. Check the link in bio to book a private reading. But you don't need to do that. You know they're never coming back. They don't even block you. It's like they never existed to begin with. Eventually, you give up and move on. But now, you can't trust that the next person is gonna be any different. So out of fear of getting hurt again, as soon as things get real, you end up doing the same thing that they did to you to someone else. This isn't exclusive to the dating world either. Have you ever had a friend who's always posting to their stories, traveling to a new city every month, going out all the time? But when you make plans with them, they flake out at the last minute. They're busy with work, or it's their cat's birthday, or they just plain don't show up. I totally forgot. Even though you've known each other for years, it's like they only make time for you when it's convenient for them. It's not just the people you meet on dating apps. It's not just social media. Modern relationships and friendships are broken. We've lost all sense of respect for each other. We have no accountability to each other. And it isn't a matter of age, gender, or sexuality. Men and women are both guilty of this, across generational lines. But why do we treat people like they're disposable?
Move on. Just move on.
Delete the damn paragraph. Do not send it to him. Like, they just don't care.
The easiest way to tell if they're interested in you, just look at how long you've been left undelivered for.
In 10 minutes from now, you are going to receive a text from your specific person.
We're not going crazy. They just truly don't care to have a relationship with you.
Jessica. There you are. I've been missing you so much, girl. You haven't hit me back since we linked up a couple weeks ago. What you want?
They are going to send you a text message. You are going to get a phone call, an email even, saying that they miss you.
It's no secret that so many of us, especially Gen Z and millennials, are lonely and yearning for connection. Pundits on the left and right alike have blamed the cost of living, the loss of third spaces, car-centric city planning, dating apps, hustle culture, and the chaos of modern politics. But it's more than that, isn't it? Real connection is rare. It's all what can you do for me instead of who are you? Technology promised instant gratification, and now we're always on our phones, reachable 24/7. So when someone leaves you on red for a few hours, it feels personal. They always say they're bad at texting, but when you see them in person, they're always on their phone. Maybe they're just bad at texting you. With what feels like unlimited options online and in the real world, commitment feels impossible. You're overwhelmed with the illusion of choice. You might meet someone you like, but you start to compare them to the cooler, hotter people you see on Instagram, or even walking down the street. If they mess up even once, you avoid the hard conversations where real growth and intimacy happen and drop them. The tough talks feel too risky. What if they take what you're saying the wrong way? What if they take it out of context and post it all online for the world to see and make you into public enemy number one? We've completely lost trust in the people we know. They might not even be who they say they are, and you might not even care to know who they really are. It's gotten so bad that you can't even trust the systems around us. If you've ever Googled your name or email address, you've probably seen it with a bunch of personal information on random data broker sites. Stuff you never agreed to share. This is where today's sponsor, Aura, comes in. If you've ever wondered why you get endless spam calls and texts from weird numbers, this is the reason why. Data brokers are making billions selling your information. And honestly, I'm sick of it. They'll remove it if you ask, but the process is nearly impossible. and that is by design. Aura handles all of that for you. They'll automatically remove your data from those sites and help to keep it off. That's why I've chosen to use Aura. They do more than just removing your personal data from the internet. It alerts you if your info shows up on the dark web, provides real-time credit and bank fraud alerts, VPN, antivirus, password manager, as well as $5 million in identity theft insurance. With 24/7 support if something goes wrong, using this one simple app can help you protect your online life at every level. Real talk though, it sucks when companies profit off us without our consent. You can try it for 14 days for free using my link in the description. In those 2 weeks, Aura will already start removing your sensitive information without you having to lift a finger. I'm not letting those companies have my data, and neither should you. Situationships, ghosting, the slow fade, bank seeing, the talking stage, humiliationships, haunting, sneaky leaks, breadcrumbing, benching, orbiting, groundhogging, kitten fishing, Riz, the 666 rule, soft launch, hard launch, submarining, love bombing, performative males, pick-me girls, rosters being nonchalant, attachment styles. It's easy to get exhausted keeping up with all the ways to describe shitty behavior in relationships these days. It's become its own form of internet brain rot. Anything but being honest and upfront about your feelings, even if they aren't what the other person wants to hear. You don't want to move too fast or ruin the friendship or seem too eager, but you also don't want to come off as uninterested. You post a carefully curated mix of suggestive memes, thirst traps, and funny videos to your close friend's story on Instagram, waiting for their views, likes, or even better, replies, decoding what each one means. That little dopamine kick, seeing their name in your notifications, gets you through the day. At some point, the person you like isn't even a person anymore. They're an idea, an avatar you project all of your hopes and fears onto. You've developed a parasocial relationship with them. It's safer and easier to watch from afar, as if they were an influencer or a celebrity who didn't even know you existed. Chances are, they've done the same thing with you. The constant access feels like closeness at first, until you realize it's hollow. Any potential intimacy is lost before it has the chance to grow. It's all become a competition to see who can care the least. You start to feel the energy shift. They like your posts less often, texts become dry, and you read into it. You look online for answers. The advice you find is conflicting. You don't know what to believe. Tell me your name and who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Ari Tong. I am a former content creator where I gave relationship and dating advice, and I occasionally dabble sometimes.
You've made a lot of dating advice content in the past. I've seen a lot of conflicting types of content around this, like with the give conflicting advice, conflicting ideas.
With social media in general, there is a commodification of emotional intelligence. And what I mean by that is when content that you typically see online on your For You page or on Instagram Reels, what is being rewarded is because the video was watched, it was well liked, it was well received. Watch time, it could be interpreted as something that's really polarizing, really controversial. And I think oftentimes this makes it so that the content that's being rewarded is something that is trying to elicit views, or it's trying to elicit some sort of response. And I think what this can look like is oftentimes it's advice that could be, never text back. If he wanted to, he would. And I think because when you put two and two together, where there's the engagement metrics, the commodification of dating advice, I think it teaches that, a connection is a game to be won instead of a relationship or a connection to be fostered over time. And I think
that is huge. The game part, oh my God.
It kind of teaches people that by default, A, you're competing for attention, it's a game, and then B, people are disposable. And I think another layer of this too, when it comes to just dating advice content, is that we often see how to attract, your dream partner, or when you go through breakups, how to make people regret things. And often the advice is what's a really unhinged one is don't text him back, play games. Oftentimes people will go online and start talking about attachment styles in a way where it's this is the thing that's set in stone, and kind of reducing someone into a checklist of things based off the behavior that they have.
Attachment styles are a staple of dating advice online. Based on John Bowlby's attachment theory and later expanded upon by Mary Ainsworth in the 1960s and 70s, it aims to explain the different ways people form bonds in adulthood based on their early childhood upbringing: secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. These are the 4 main attachment styles. If you're secure, nothing gets to you. You know how to show up in ways that are warm and forgiving while also holding your own boundaries. Everyone claims they're secure. Anxious types crave closeness, flooding their partner with texts and reassurance, thinking that the more they show up, the more the other person will see that they care. Online, these people are seen as the victims. They get taken for a ride by the ultimate enemy in the dating world, the avoidant. Avoidants also want intimacy and closeness, but are afraid once things get too real. They're said to ghost often, pick apart your flaws for no reason, and go cold to avoid getting hurt. There is so much hate online for the avoidant types. They're seen as distant and emotionally unavailable.
Like, there's so much content that goes avoidance, but it's like they are people too.
Anxious and avoidance are attracted to each other like magnets. As the avoidant pulls away, the anxious one pulls closer. It's an endless dance of yearning and heartache on both sides. And then there's the disorganized. The worst of both worlds, cycling between anxious and avoidant depending on their mood and the person they're with. Being disorganized attachment is a curse, or at least that's what they say online. Relationship gurus love to explain away being ghosted by someone as them just being avoidant attached, telling you that they really did love you and wanted to be with you, but got scared and ran away, selling courses to teach you how to win them back. While this may be true in some cases, most of the time, it's way more complicated than that. These attachment styles do have some use in the professional psychology world, but they tend to be reductive when used in a casual setting. We treat them like permanent, unchanging identities, a part of who you are, like your eye color or your height. But I know, from personal experience, this isn't true. Myself and the people I know have all experienced showing up as bits and pieces of all 4 types at different points in life, in both friendships and romantic partnerships. The problem is that when we don't communicate, we make assumptions about people and put them in a box to explain away their behavior and cope with the fact that sometimes things just don't work out the way we want them to.
Going back to the wider lens of attachment styles, it's a theory. So theory is never like set in stone. There's only evidence to support theory. It's not something that's like permanent. That is what we learn when it comes to like research methods, and if you take any like theoretical class, you will learn that in university. But what is absent in the rhetoric and the language and the conversation around attachment styles in this content is people can be multiple attachment styles. How someone's attachment style interacts with a cognitive disorder, a learning disorder, or even like, for example, depression or anxiety, or even like ADHD can drastically manifest very differently. And people are just so different by nature, and you're not letting people exist, and you are by default putting them in this light of, oh, they're avoidant, they're a narcissist. Oh, they're an avoidant, they are inconsiderate. But on the other side of the coin, this avoidant that we often talk shit about is a person who has the same exact anxiety, that has the same exact struggles, but obviously they have projected a lot of that onto the other person and act in a way that is not great. The byproduct of this too, with anxious attachment, is people will just write others off. And it's like, I'm so sorry to say this, but sometimes people just don't want to be with another person.
And even when we do try to explain why they did what they did, we love to blame the apps.
For the first time in history, dating apps have become the default way for most people in our generation to date and meet people. And so I think that also commodifies dating in a sense of, okay, now you have a marketplace of people vying for people's attentions based off of just surface level things such as someone's job, their height, just a few prompts, like a few pictures, right?
There's so much discourse about how dating apps killed modern romance. People have grown to hate dating apps for so many reasons. You don't get enough matches. There's 5 times as many men on them as there are women. People will text you endlessly, but when it comes time to meet up, they ghost you. People catfish and use old photos or AI-generated images to misrepresent themselves. The dreaded short-term open to long and figuring out my relationship goals types. Not to mention, they're full of bots and scammers. It's a breeding ground for all of the bad behavior we love to complain about. But they are merely a symptom, not the cause, of a much larger problem. But this behavior has been going on since the beginning of time. And it's everywhere. It doesn't just happen on the dating apps. With almost everyone in the world having access to the internet in some form, there are countless ways to meet people. Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, Discord, X, Threads, and so many other apps. You're not just competing for a person's attention with the people in your city, but with the countless hotties that live inside of their phone. With airfare being relatively affordable and online communication nearly instant, even if the person you like lives a few blocks away, they may find someone else they like more who lives on another continent. So no, it's not just dating apps. The game is rigged at every level. We've been conditioned to see every person as an option and never commit, because when you're lonely and starved for attention, people become yet another product to be consumed. And once you're done with them, you can move on to something else with little to no accountability. It's to the point where finding your person has become just another consumer choice.
I'm in love with consumerism. Buying things makes my heart melt. The more stuff I get, the stronger my feelings become. If I cannot spend money, it breaks my heart. I never repeat outfits. I never cook at home. I am constantly shopping online. Anything to fill the void inside of me.
My darling Benson Boone, I would do anything for your crumble cookies. I yearn for your Dubai chocolate. My heart aches for a jet to Holiday to Cupertino, where we eat moonbeam ice cream and drink matches together, while I stare into your 24-karat gold Labubu eyes. Claro playing in the background. I gently grab your AI-generated hands and whisper sweet Temu discount codes into your ear. On the sales floor of this Cupertino Pop Mart, my darling Benson Boone, you caress me gently with John Pork's phone calls, and you proceed to say,
Actually, I'm not ready for a situationship. You've hit the free plan limit for GPT-40. Continue with our basic model until limit resets in 2 hours, or get ChatGPT Plus.
Okay, so if psychology can't fix it and tech has only made it worse, maybe there's something deeper at play. That's when people start turning to the mystical. You don't believe that they just didn't like you. It's something in the stars that blocked your connection. One of the most common reactions to hardship is to seek answers from the supernatural. It's why the most popular types of psychic readings are those concerning love and money. And in our technological age, algorithms are their own sort of mystical force, serving you up cold readings that make your For You page really scream out, for you. Tarot readers and astrologers are all over the internet right now. You've probably seen them. A whole bunch of keywords, astrological signs, angel numbers, and even random initials. It's like these strangers can see into your soul. Oh my God, so have you seen the tarot card girls where they're like, every single one of them is almost always the same. The loved ones are always like somebody ghosted you and they're trying to tell you they came back.
So I'm a victim of TikTok tarot card readings. You need to tell me that my ex is coming back and their initial has decided, oh, they're a Cancer or they're a Gemini. What? Like, people at a fundamental level, they want certainty when there's uncertainty. To be clear, if any people that do tarot that are watching this, I just want to say, like, I don't know enough about the occult. And there are things that happen that are unexplainable that I'm not aware of. So I will say that. But oftentimes, like, sometimes tarot can like just be so predatory.
So I agree. Like, the thing with tarot is like, it is a good tool to kind of understand what your own thoughts are about a situation. And whether or not there's like something spiritual or like otherworldly, supernatural behind that, we can debate all day and all night. The sad fact is, we live in a low-trust society. Political polarization is worse than ever, with the gap between young men and women politically becoming larger each year, both demanding the other rise up to an impossibly high standard that practically nobody can meet. In media, beauty standards have become more oppressive over time. Young men practice looks maxing, and women put beef tallow on their skin to stay young and pretty for as long as possible. Perfectionism is a recession indicator, and it makes forming relationships, both romantic and platonic, much, much more difficult.
American society in general has a really firm grasp on meritocracy, where your perceived value or how a person's perceived value is based off of the things that they have, their accomplishments, their productivity. And it really does teach people that humans are fundamentally disposable.
Men blame women for being shallow, only wanting to date guys over 6 feet tall with jobs in finance. Women blame men for not taking care of their appearance, being emotionally immature, addicted to porn and video games. When a man tries to learn a little more about what women like, he gets labeled a performative male, matcha in hand, Labubu clipped to his tote bag, playing Claro through wired headphones while reading feminist literature. When a woman even tries to understand men and what they want and need, she's labeled a pick-me, an anti-feminist, not for the girls. There's no winning. And these problems extend into same-sex relationships as well, where the common trope is that women will ghost each other the day after saying, I love you, or let's move in together.
I'm in love, and I don't care who knows. I would marry you like right now.
I have dated men and women, and that is such a thing that women do to each other. The minute you get like, oh, I love you so much, or oh, you're like, it doesn't even have to be that. It's like an exaggeration, but like the minute anything gets remotely real, they're running away. They're going to ghost you. They're not going to say anything because it's just easier to do that than to be like, hey, you know what? Let's slow this down. Like, it's really hard for people to talk about their feelings now when they can just freaking go online and scroll on TikTok. And if they want to get off, they can just like pull up the hub or like read a spicy book. Maybe they haven't called you back because of that new job that they just started. The rent went up and they're too busy stacking cash and taking on multiple side hustles to even have the mental space for any kind of relationship or friendship with you. If they're not getting paid, it's time wasted. There used to be a saying here in Northern California that New York City is the city that never sleeps, but San Francisco has work in the morning. With the cost of living constantly outpacing wages, that's becoming a reality in much of the world. Why spend money on 100 crappy first dates to find the right person when you could just be home or picking up an extra shift? Friendship and romance have started to become a luxury for those with the time and disposable income to prioritize them. It's gotten so bad that a recent poll has shown that having friends alone costs about $250 a month. And that doesn't even account for how much dating costs these days. As always, the working class gets f***ed every time, and not in the fun way. Like one Instagram follower told me, dating feels like a job interview.
That's not just you, babe. I have talked to so many people that have said the same thing. I've felt that way. I know a ton of people who have felt that way. I've seen so much content about that. Not just dating, making friends too. It's like everything's like a job interview these days. So this is a top tier comment.
And it makes sense because in this economy, you're not just competing with other potential dates, you're competing with their ability to earn an income. The hustle culture of like, I'm so broke right now and I have to make so much money. If somebody doesn't check off every single one of my boxes, I'm going to protect my peace so I can hustle, because if they're not perfect, if they're not a hell yeah immediately out the gate, and they don't stay that way the entire time we know each other, fuck them. Basically, fuck them. Like, they're gone. I'm gonna cut them off. The whole like, I'm looking for a man in finance, 6'5", trust fund, blue eyes. It's just like, dude, really? Like, that's what you value? And it trickles down even into the working class. Like, people I know, they're too busy to date. They're too busy to do anything because it's all about basic survival.
I feel very deeply for anyone that is in a situation where they're like, I don't have time to date, I have to work. I'm experiencing this myself because it's so fucking scary when you don't have any financial stability, you don't have psychological safety as well, because you are by default have to accept a shitty ass job that is going to treat you poorly. And then you're hedging against the fact that where is my rent money gonna come from this next month? And that is very, very scary. And anybody would act out of sorts. Like, it's exhausting. And then the cost of living is so expensive as is right now.
Hi, my name is Lyss. I'm a content creator on Twitch. I am a perpetual victim to the modern dating scene, anxious attachment style.
Anxious attachment, really?
Hey, I can admit it, okay?
At least you can admit it. At least you don't like pretend like you're secure. We were talking about the whole idea of protecting your peace.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's this huge emphasis on, especially if you go on like advice forums, websites, stuff like that tell you, protect your peace at all costs. And to me, I just find that so frustrating, so unfathomably selfish. Here's the thing is that people just complain about being lonely, about how people don't show up for them. But then they're also the first ones to turn around and say, protect your peace at all costs. I don't want to sit here listening to you bitch and moan that nobody cares when you're quick to cut somebody off for making one mistake. Now, just because somebody doesn't call you back or text you right away doesn't mean that they don't care. People have lives, people have their own things going on. And if you actually care about somebody, then you're not just going to say, well, you're hurting my peace. So the people that are so quick to cut people off, it really bothers me. Like, if you're on a random one night stand, dating, hookup, that kind of thing, yeah, they protect your peace. But if it's somebody that you're in community with, if it's somebody that you're going to see again, just ghosting somebody because you don't want to have a difficult conversation with somebody in your community shows that you don't care. about your community. And it's just that simple.
Yeah, it's like that hyper individualist kind of.
Yeah, it's a super, we're in a super hyper individualist mindset. Everybody, it's like, get your bag. Don't fuck everybody. You do you.
If you've ever moved to a new city as an adult, you've probably had a difficult time making new friends at first. Everyone's locked into their cliques, the same groups they knew in high school or college, or they hang out with their coworkers. But you hate your coworkers. You need something more. Where do you even go? And if you're still in your hometown, friends start to drift apart. They get married, have kids, move to the suburbs, or out of town altogether. When you used to see each other every weekend and party into the night, now your only interactions are exchanging likes and story replies on Instagram. You feel like they're still in your life, but it's always, let's hang out soon, and they never seem to be able to find the time. And that connection died long ago anyways. The superficial online stuff is a facade. We don't break up with friends anymore. They just become followers that we collect. Remember that random drunk girl you met in the bathroom of the nightclub 5 years ago and added on Facebook and never deleted? She's basically at the same level as your best friend you haven't spoken to since college. And we hold the friends that we keep to the same high standards that we do in dating. Recently, one Instagram follower told me this is especially true in male friendships.
Some of my male friends have said this, and men are definitely lonely because of this.
But it's not just the men. Everyone is guilty of having those friends that they just kind of blow off. Friendship can be fluid and complicated. Sometimes you're seeing someone multiple times a week, and at others you go months without speaking. And the best friendships can survive that like nothing happened. But it takes real work to get to that level of comfort and understanding with someone. And that's a work that a lot of people aren't in a position to do. We want instant gratification, fast connection without accountability or messy emotions getting in the way. That's why sometimes it's easier to just go online and watch your favorite influencer or streamer from afar and treat them like you know them. We put the expectation of friendship and relationships onto people who, for all intents and purposes, don't even really belong in our lives, filtered through an artificial connection that is forced much longer than it naturally would otherwise. And with these expectations, it's no wonder that we get disappointed and let down when people don't live up to them. There's never a clean break in a world where everyone can see everyone else all the time at any time they want. In a mass surveillance state, we're all cam girls, aren't we? It comes to a point where if you're unable to nurture meaningful friendships, it takes a toll on every other area of your life. From work to your love life to your hobbies and even your mental health. It's here where you're already lonely and isolated. The depression and anxiety makes you unable to act. And from there, you ghost your friends and potential partners, disappearing into yourself and unable to get out of the hole that society dug for you. Okay, baby girl, I'm gonna hold your tits when I say this. This ain't new. Daddy went out for cigarettes and never came back. The soldier with the pregnant girlfriend stopped responding to her letters and started a new family somewhere else. The guy you met at the bar never called back. It's been going on as long as people have been living on this planet. But of course, now that we have the illusion of constant access to each other, it's more ambiguous. There's never really complete silence. You see them online all the time and might think there's just a little door open. But you know where you really stand, don't you? It's a skill issue, babe. You just suck at talking to people. So do I. We all do. It's human. But how the hell do we fix it? As cliche as it sounds, you gotta be the change. Man, I f***ing hate that saying. It's so stupid. Be the change? Really? But there's something to it. People these days tend to separate romance and friendship into two separate things, like they're totally different, but they're really not. They require the same exact social skills. Without honesty, care, and accountability, we all stay lonely and treat each other like garbage. It's tempting to just leave without a trace when things get difficult or uncomfortable, but without that discomfort, it's tough to develop those deeper, more meaningful relationships. That's not to say that it's not okay to sometimes leave things where they are, unspoken, and just walk away. I mean, if you go on one date with a random person you met on a dating app with no mutual friends, there's no vibe, and neither of you are feeling it, it's not the worst thing in the world to just kind of leave it at that. No hard feelings. Sometimes you've got a friend or romantic partner who is abusive and toxic and refuses to hear you out and will not, under any circumstances, do the work to be a better friend to you. In that case, it's often a matter of personal safety that you have to get the hell out of there. And again, please do that. Sometimes you do need to just distance yourself and make a clean break. But with people who've done nothing wrong, that we've developed a real connection with, over time, we owe them basic respect, even if it's not what they want to hear. When things change, or when hard feelings come up, if we show up with honesty and openness, even if they don't reciprocate, it's better to be direct and honest instead of just throwing them out without ever knowing what they did. That can take a toll on a person. And we want to be a little nicer than that, don't we? So maybe that person you like never called you back. And they never will. And they're still posting to social media every day, living their life like you never existed. And while it feels shitty, that's fine. That's their prerogative. But that flaky friend that keeps stringing you along, saying one day we'll hang out, that's too busy to even meet you for lunch, might never actually show up. And you gotta be ready for that. But maybe they will. Real friendships and relationships take work, time, and effort. We can't expect people to be perfect from the start. Or ever, really. And we can't just drop them because they're not great at meeting our expectations right away. Modern friendships and relationships are broken, but not beyond repair. And with some work and mutual understanding, as a society, we can fix them together.